Okay, so we're using the, I think this is called Antique Gold color of Plastidip. I got this on dipyourcar.com. I think that's the only place you can get this color. Vintage Gold, I'm sorry, Vintage Gold. That's just the only color, this is the color I bought originally. So just like spray paint, you want to prep your surface very well. I cleaned my fork off, just Dawn dish soap and water, and then just dried it, just like normal. And then if you're going to do your whole bike, I would go ahead and clean off your entire bike the same way. Nice, wash it, get a scrub brush, really get all the grime and the gunk off of it. I go ahead and take off my cranks, take the wheels off, obviously, take the brakes off, take the seat post out, take your bottle holders off, anything you don't want to get Plastidip on. And then I go ahead and tape over all the different parts. So I tape over the bottom bracket, I tape over any of the holes. If you have internal cables, I tape over the grommets. It just makes it easier in the future. Now you can leave your, if you leave your brake lines in, you can go ahead and just peel the Plastidip off that later. And just like spray paint, we want to go ahead and shake this very well. Shake it for about 8 minutes before you start. Make sure it's not really cold or really hot. If it's been sitting around in your basement or in your garage, it might be pretty cold, so I'd go ahead and try and warm it up. Alright, and so now we're ready to begin. Spraying on the Plastidip is a lot like spraying on spray paint. There are a few differences. First of all, with spray paint, you're really worried about too many drips and making sure you don't put too much on. With Plastidip, it's a lot different in that manner. So what I'm going to do is usually I put on quite a few coats. The first few coats are pretty light. I'm not going to put a really heavy coat on it first. Once I have a good base, then I'm going to put on some kind of thicker coats. And it's kind of counterintuitive, but the thicker the Plastidip is when you put it on, the easier it's going to be when you take it off. So remember, the Plastidip isn't like normal paints. When you spray it on, the chemicals are going to compound together and create basically a plastic on top of your bike frame, okay? So the thicker that plastic is, the easier it's going to be to peel off when you're done, when you want a different color, or when you're done with your Plastidip. As far as the Plastidip itself, I'm going to put it on the same way I put on spray paint. As far as, I'm going to go nice even strokes across, and I'm not going to get too close, I'm not going to get too far away. About 8 to 10 inches away I think is a pretty good distance. You can judge that for yourself. So as you can see, if this was spray paint, I would be worried about having some runs in here. But the way the Plastidip works is, even though I put a little bit too heavy of a coat on right there, it evens itself out very well, and it's very hard to get a run with Plastidip. I've completely covered the black. There's very little black showing through at this point. It does look very glossy and shiny and sparkly right now, but keep in mind the Plastidip is going to dry as more of a matte finish. So you're not going to get the super glossy effect unless you're using some of the glossy Plastidips. And as the Plastidip starts to dry, it'll be very obvious the gloss that was there and kind of the liquid nature of it starts to dry up, and you start to see that it's more of a dry finish. You can see that the light shining off it isn't quite as bright as it was. And so it'll be very obvious when your next coat should go on.
This is our finished fork in that antique gold Plastidip. It's actually a lot shinier than my prior experience. Now I should probably put maybe another coat or two on here. You can kind of see a little bit of carbon through here. This isn't the best job that I've done. I did a better job on my original bike. So I definitely recommend doing at least 4 coats of Plastidip on your fork or your bike. That's gonna, remember, the more you put on, the easier it is to get off. It's going to provide you a nice thick layer to peel right off. Alright, here's the finished product. Less than an hour or so, I'd say, including drying time. Of course, last time I did the entire bike, and this is the fork to show you how I did it. And you can still see I left some Plastidip on it last time on the brake cable holder.
and there it is. It's just that easy.
I created this Xbox of mine just to show you how easy it is to do. I didn't do a great job on this Xbox on purpose. I sprayed super heavy. I have lots of drops on here, and lots of runs. But I just wanted to show you how easy it is to spray something. I didn't clean this off before I did it. I didn't do anything to it really. And so I'm just going to show you how easy it is to peel. So it's dry now. And I just barely push that, and there it is. And it peels right off. And it peels right off. No, you're fine. Alright. And it just lifts up just like that, just like a piece of plastic. And there we go. So once you get it started, it's really easy to... And this is the same way it comes off the bike.